Welcome dear students to the academic year 2020-2021. We start with the first poem of our English, which is written by famous renowned author Ravindranath Tagore. As you see his date of birth from 1861 to 1941, that means he used to write his poems before independence. And in those days, we were under the British rule, where we Indians had no freedom to do anything. In those days, Rabindranath had a wish that if we would be free, if India would be free, it could do this, it could do that. So this poem is basically based on that, on his thoughts, on his views, on his expressions, how he wanted actual India to be after independence. What kind of free independence India he wanted. Now to begin with, where the mind is without fear and the head is held high, where knowledge is free, where the world has not been broken up into fragments. Now looking at this para, we see mind is without fear means right now we are under British rule, right? So we are under the fear that now some officer will come and they will put some levy taxes on us, and we'll have to pay that even though we have it or no, we have to pay. Otherwise they beat up or they put us in prison and things like that. And head is held high. That means you cannot put your head up and say or go against the British rule. So he always wished India which was free of this fear, where the people could held their head up and say freely what they wanted to say. Knowledge is free. Here, in olden days during British rule, girls were not educated. Even they were not educating the men, Indian men, because they thought if Indian men would be educated, learned, they will start ruling over us. They will understand what are the ifs and buts of the politics of the administration, and they will start fighting for their rights. So they used to not educate. So he always wished that knowledge is something that should be free. Everybody should be having the right to free knowledge, which they can use it to their benefit. Where the world has not been broken up into fragments, where there is no difference between rich, poor, blacks, whites, brilliant students, poor, weak students. So where everyone is same, everyone is having the same right to say, to learn, to study, to work, to speech, everything. And the world has not been broken up into fragments by narrow domestic walls. Domestic means narrow-minded. Girls should not do this, boys should do this, boys should be given preference, and girls should not be going out and removing ghunghats and things like that. So there should be no differentiation between girls and boys, or rich and poor, or the high class or the middle class. So he always wished for an equal India. Okay, moving on to the next stanza, where words come out from the depth of truth, where tireless striving stretches its arms towards perfection. It means that whatever some person says true, speaks true. He is not afraid of anyone. He can fearlessly say what he wants to say. And whatever he wants to achieve in life, he should strive for it tirelessly. It's not that he has decided to do something and then he works for it for some days and then he gives it up saying, no, I cannot achieve it, or it's not my cup of tea. No. You have to continuously strive for it. Only then you will be able to achieve your goal. You will be able to move towards perfection in life. Moving on to the next two lines, where the clear stream of reason has not lost its way into the dreary desert sand of dead habit. It means that your vision should be clear like a stream, like the clear water of the stream. For example, when you look into the stream, you can see the stones which are below under the water. Clearly you can see them. So similarly, your vision should also be very, very clear right in front of you. For example, you are running and you have to run and you have to come first. So when you are at the starting line, you should be able to see your finishing line. that means your end, you're achieving your goal where you want to reach. Only then and then you will be able to come out of that fear and leave your bad habits. Bad habit means your bad habits which force you to give up, which which tells you that no, you cannot do it. But only and only if you keep your vision clear like this stream, you will have a reason to go for it, to fight for it, and that's when you will finally achieve your goal. Where the mind is led forward by thee, that means you have to lead the way, even if someone is pulling you back, that no, you cannot do this or that, or this is how you should do. But you should lead your way. You should know what is the best way you can achieve it, and you should follow that way into ever widening thought and action. That means if someone is telling you that you cannot do this, but you should have a very strong reason and to prove that person wrong, that no, this is the reason why I should be able to do it, and I will do it, and I will achieve it. So you should be that much strong enough. Into that heaven of freedom, my father, let my country away. So finally, in the last line, Rabindranath Tagore says to God, which is my father. My father, when he says my father, he means God. So he is praying that, oh God, create a country, create a place or a heaven, a Jannat of freedom, where my such people should open their eyes, where when my people sleep at night and when they open their eyes, they find themselves in a heaven of freedom, where they are free from all kind of fears and they are striving effortlessly to achieve their goals. So this is the wish of Rabindranath Tagore, and that's what he wanted at that time, and that is very much applicable in today's world also. You can apply this in today's world also. Even in your life, whatever you want, you need to set a goal, set a target, and clearly look through your vision, and only then and then you can achieve it.
So now moving on with the poem, let's look at the figures of speech that are used by the poet in the poem. Figures of speech are tools that make the poem and writing more interesting. So most of these figures of speech you must have learned, but let's revise them. So for the first one is metaphor. Metaphor means when we make direct comparisons between two ideas or two different things. So an example for that is where the clear stream of reason has not lost its way. Here in this line, the poet has compared the clear stream meaning a clean river, to reason, which are the reasons that you give or justifications that you provide for something. So here they've the poet is trying to compare that your reason, whatever reason that you give, should be as clear as a stream, where you can see whatever is beneath the stream, like the stones beneath the stream. So it is here we are making comparison between clear stream and reason, therefore it is a metaphor. Next is personification. Personification is when you give an abstract idea or non-living thing a human quality. For example, where tireless striving stretches its arms towards perfection. Now tireless striving means that the efforts that you put in to get something. Efforts is an idea. It is not something, it is not a human being or something. But we're giving it the quality of stretching its arms. Stretching its arms means when you want to take something which is far away, you stretch your arms to get it. So that is a human quality that we possess. But here we're giving the idea of striving, the human quality of stretching its arms. So this is personification. Next is alliteration. Words that begin with the same sound are placed close together. So for example, into the dreary desert sand of dead habit. Here the sound of D is used many times in the same line. Therefore it is alliteration, and it does not mean that if there is alliteration in one line, it does not have any other figures of speech. For example, this very line has metaphor as well as personification both in the line. So for example, here dead habit is also an idea. and dead is a human quality. Being dead is a human quality. Here we're giving the idea of habit, the human quality. So it is personification, and here we're comparing the dead habit to dreary desert sands. So it is again a metaphor. Okay. So moving on, the next is apostrophe. Apostrophe is where a speaker talks to something or someone who is absent or dead or cannot respond. So the example for this is, into that heaven of freedom, my father, let my country awake. So as explained in the poem, here by my father, the poet means God. So God is somebody who cannot respond back to us, who is a person who is absent. Okay, so this is called apostrophe. Now for your homework, I will ask you to solve the English workshop that is there in your textbooks. So do the first question, second question, which is match the following. Then the third question is where you have to give your own words. So you have to do both these exercises, because in exams you can get questions on your own. They'll ask you to give your own response. So there it will be useful. And then moving on, do exercise 4. And then do exercise number 6. Skip exercise 5. Find out examples of metaphor from the poem. So as explained, metaphor is comparison between two ideas or two things. So you have to find other examples of metaphor from the poem. And along with that, you have to find another examples for the other figures of speech that I have explained in the poem. Okay.